All right, so we're going to be talking about the compound interest formula today. The formula is circled here on your paper. You are not required to memorize this formula. It will be provided on tests. However, you will need to know what each one of those variables represent. So make sure you copy that down in your paper. You want to pause the video as I will be moving forward with number one here shortly. So number one says Zyra invests $3,500. So $3,500 is going to be substituted in for the P in this formula. That's the initial investment by Zyra. The rate, we're going to get the rate from this percentage right here. But as you know, to turn a percentage into a decimal that we can use in this problem, we need to divide it by 100 because 8% out of 100. Just type that in your calculator. You, of course, get 0.08. So our R is 0.08. The N is the number of times per year the interest is compounded upon itself. It tells us in this problem the interest is compounded upon itself on a monthly basis. So that's 12 times per year. So N is 12. And T is the number of years. In this case, it's 15. So right here, this is on a test. You need to show your setup. That's worth half credit right there just for the setup. And then the rest we can just get by substituting into the calculator. So let's type this in the calculator. Really, you're just going to type it in the calculator exactly like it looks. So 3,500 parentheses 1 plus 0.08 divided by 12. Close your parenthesis. And then you're raising all of that to the 12 times 15 power. You're going to hit enter, and it tells you your account has grown from $3,500 to $11,574.23. So that's our answer for number one. And notice I used that third decimal, the 5, to round the second decimal up. So we rounded it to the nearest cent. So let's do one more example. Pause it if you need to go back and review anything from number one. But for number 2 through 4, we're using the same information. The only thing that's going to change is the number of times the interest is compounded. So let's go ahead and set up this problem for 2 through 4. It gives us the initial investment in this problem. It tells us we deposited $7,500, so that's our initial principal. It gives us our initial interest rate here. Our interest rate is 12.75%. So to get our R for these three problems, you're going to take 12.75, divide it by 100. Remember, really all we're doing here is when you divide by 100 is you're moving that decimal to the left 2 spots. So the rate is 0.1275. Of course, our T is the number of years where we're going to leave our money in this account. So we're not going to touch the money for 13 years. And in fact, a lot of times accounts, if you take your money out early, there's a penalty. The only thing that changes in these problems is the N. So this first example, you're going to compound the interest 12 times a year because it's compounded monthly. The second time you're compounding it quarterly, which means you're just compounding it 4 times per year. There's 4 quarters in a year. And then the last one, compounded annually. So if it's compounded annually, it's just compounded once per year. So now use that information to solve these problems. So using the formula, where we already said P is 7,500, the rate is 0.1275. So we put that in for the R variable. The N is 12, so we divide it by 12, and we raise it to the 12 times 13 power. Let's go ahead and set up the second one. Again, everything stays the same, except the N changes. So here's the three setups for 2, 3, and 4. Notice again, the only difference is this number here that we substituted in for the N variable. So now just put this into the calculator. Again, I'll do one more just to kind of show you how it should look when you put it in. So for number 2, type in 7,500. Just type it in exactly like it looks. And you should get $39,003.81. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can get 3 and 4 correct in your calculator. And then check the answer here in just a second. Here's the answer for number 3. I'm going to scroll over so you can see it in the calculator here. So you can see what it should look like. And then this last one, when you type it in the calculator, should get $34,677.20. So I'm not going to do the last one. The last one's for you. Do that last one and then turn in this paper.